There's a lot to talk about with this chapter. Boruto was shown using a legendary jutsu that he inherited from his grandfather. Sasuke's fate is worse than death. I'm not even sure how Boruto is going to look Sarada in the eye and tell her what happened to her father. This chapter was also the introduction of 4 new villains, and saying that they shouldn't be underestimated would be a huge understatement. A familiar face was also seen collaborating with Boruto, and Sarada puts Kawaki in his place in front of Shikamaru at the Hokage office. One of the biggest revelations was that Boruto is now able to use the Flying Thunder God technique. This is one of the most difficult and hard to master jutsu. Only 2 shinobi are capable of using this jutsu, those shinobi being Minato the 4th Hokage and Tobirama the 2nd Hokage, the creator of this jutsu. Now Boruto is officially the 3rd Flying Raijin user. There's also 4 other shinobi that can use the Flying Raijin technique, which are the 4 shinobi that were a part of Minato's personal security detail. He taught them the jutsu for them to use in desperate situations, but I don't think they count, considering that they need all 4 of them to activate the jutsu and they cannot do it individually. Now one of the biggest questions is how on earth did Boruto manage to teleport himself to Code's dimension using the Flying Thunder God, when he didn't even tag Code using a mark or using a kunai blade? The thing is, he used other ways to put something on Code that he can use as a beacon to teleport himself to Code's dimension. In the 3rd chapter of 2 Blue Vortex, we can see that the toad that Boruto used to tag Code was holding on to something. That something is Boruto's Konoha pendant. Boruto used the pendant as a tracer so that he knows where to teleport. The interesting thing is that people were saying Boruto is wearing too much stuff, when in reality, it's tactical dread. Using whatever tool at your disposal to your advantage is one of the fundamentals of being a shinobi. The other issue is that how did Boruto learn how to use the Flying Thunder God technique? The most probable answer is Kashin Koji. Some people might say Sasuke is the one that taught him how to use the jutsu, but I doubt it. Sasuke Uchiha had a lot of time to research Kaguya's ruins and scrolls that were in her dimensions. Even some of her jutsu, like the formula to create Nue, the artificial tailed beast. That means that he spent most of his time traveling between Kaguya's different dimensions, and he had to use his Rinnegan a lot for space-time ninjutsu. It would have been easier and faster for Sasuke Uchiha to use the Flying Raijin to travel back and forth through all those dimensions without having to always use up chakra activating his Rinnegan for space-time ninjutsu. Sasuke has always been a genius and very quick to adapt to new jutsu as well as learn new jutsu that can be useful to him. Ever since his academy days, he never struggled to figure out how to use certain jutsu and even to master them. Just like in the Boruto anime, Sasuke was shown using Naruto's Shadow Clone Jutsu. There's nothing that's stopping him from investigating the Konoha archives and figuring out how to use the 2nd and 4th Hokage's Flying Raijin Jutsu, but he never thought to use it. Aside from that, we also know that Code had a fight with Boruto a year after Boruto left the village with Sasuke. The most likely scenario is that Sasuke fell victim to the Clogrimes while saving Boruto from an army of Clogrimes so that he can escape from Code. Code even mentioned that Boruto was in a helpless situation in that fight. Sasuke might have made good on his promise to Sarada and gave his life to save Boruto from Code and his Clogrime army. Kishimoto is still continuing the tradition of whatever happens to Naruto, something similar has to happen to Sasuke as well. Sasuke might also be the one that gave Code that scar on his face using his sword, which means that for the majority of the 2 years of the time skip, Sasuke wasn't there to train with Boruto or to teach him how to use jutsu that are as complex as the Flying Thunder God, which would require a significant amount of time just to master or even pull off the basic techniques of Minato's jutsu. How possible is it that Kashin Koji is the one that taught him how to use the jutsu? Folks need to remember that Kashin Koji might be one of the only Kara members that fights like a shinobi. Not only does he use Jiraiya Sensei's fighting style, Kashin Koji uses ninjutsu that activates using hand signs and doesn't use any type of ninja tech as support or a weapon. Koji has always been a part of Kara's intel gathering faction and knows how to acquire information, and has been acquiring information on Konoha and the Konoha shinobi for a significant amount of time. He also infiltrated Konoha to spy on Kawaki and Boruto in the manga. There's also an anime canon episode within the Kara arc that shows Kakashi Sensei catching Koji trying to steal a scroll from the highly secure Konoha archives, which led to a small exchange of blows before Kashin Koji made his retreat. It's possible that this is why Kashin Koji could have acquired the information on how to do the Flying Thunder God technique. Another way Boruto could have learned how to do the jutsu is through Momoshiki's knowledge of Shinjutsu. Boruto and Momoshiki's thoughts were overlapping and they started to see what's in each other's minds, as well as start to know information that the other individual knows. Remember that ninjutsu is a watered down version of Shinjutsu. Boruto could have figured out how to use the Flying Thunder God technique by combining the knowledge that he has of his grandfather's jutsu and the knowledge of Shinjutsu that he got from Momoshiki, which is why he's not yet as proficient as Minato when it comes to using the jutsu, cause he had to figure out how to do it from scratch and didn't have any source of information on how to do it. Either that or Kashin Koji is the one that trained him and Boruto didn't have enough time to perfect the jutsu. That's a few of the ways that Boruto might have learned how to use the Flying Thunder God technique. Ever since the first chapter of the time skip, Boruto has been fighting like a shinobi, weaving hand signs and using ninjutsu. This is more significant than people think, and I'm proud to see that. Boruto is sticking to his convictions that he's still a shinobi. This solidifies his statement from the time skip scene in the first chapter of Boruto Naruto Next Generations. The age of shinobi is not over. Boruto hasn't activated his karma even once when he was fighting the newly introduced villains that are an evolution of the Ten Tails and the product of the chakra that the Clockworm trees were sucking from their victims. This is why the Shinju, as Boruto refers to them, have the appearance of shinobi like Sasuke and Moegi as well as their abilities. This is why the Sasuke looking Shinju was shown using a lightning style technique that seems to resemble the Chidori. The female Shinju used the Earth style jutsu to immobilize Boruto, the same jutsu that was used by Team 10's Moegi to trap Amado when he strapped a bomb on Shikadai's neck. The Shinju with the long beard has the physical appearance of Bug, the Kara member that was in charge of guarding the facility where Ada and Damon were kept. There's one central figure among the Shinju that seems like this is the biggest concern that Boruto should have. This enemy was shown floating in the sky in Code's dimension, looking down on the battle between Boruto and the other three Shinju. According to the unofficial translations, the only thing that this floating Shinju said to Boruto was, "Our ego has awakened. The curiosity and desire for knowledge flowing out is still surpassing our instincts of eating you. Flee wherever you like, wherever you are in this world. You can't get away from your destiny." Their first mission would be to probably learn where they rank on the food chain in terms of power and who is powerful enough to stop them from pursuing their ambitions. From what the main Shinju said to Boruto, it seems like after realizing that they are probably the strongest individuals on the planet and almost no one can stop them, that's when they'll stop their quest for knowledge and go on an all-out assault on the ninja world. The Shinju are a result of Code tampering with the Ten Tails using his Shinjutsu claw marks, which enabled the Jubi to evolve into 4 new formidable enemies that will make the dark future that Boruto was trying to prevent turn into reality. The fact that they were able to take on the physical appearances and the abilities of the victim of the Clockworm trees, it means that more of these Shinju can be produced. Unless of course, it's only going to be these 4 Shinju since the Jubi disappeared immediately before these 4 showed up, meaning that the evolved state of the Jubi might have split into these 4 Shinju. The Shinju might be able to copy the jutsu of the shinobi pacified in the trees cause the Clockworms have the same composition as the White Zetsu. Both of them are made from the God Tree or Divine Tree. The White Zetsu were shown to be able to copy people's appearance down to their chakra network. Their limitation was that they couldn't use the jutsu of the shinobi whose appearance they copied. However, the Clockworms are a much more superior and evolved creation, mainly due to Code's interference using his Shinjutsu claw marks. Those Clockworms have made it possible for the Jubi to evolve into 4 ferocious beings. The Shinju are so powerful that Boruto could barely hold them off without struggling. Boruto had no other choice but to retreat back to Sasuke's location. Back in Konoha, Sarada and Kawaki are in Shikamaru's office, where Kawaki is insisting that they should go after Boruto and treat him like an enemy the same way that Code and the Clockworms are their enemy. Sarada is playing the devil's advocate and defending Boruto, stating that Boruto came to the village and fought Code with no further interest in anyone else in the village, nor did he harm anyone when he was in the village. He immediately went after Code moments after Code escaped, proving to Shikamaru that Boruto is no threat to the village and Konoha should be trying to help him instead of treating him like an enemy. Kawaki goes on to say that Boruto shouldn't be trusted since he's an Otsutsuki. Sarada immediately puts him in his place and reminds him that he's also an Otsutsuki. He should stop with the hypocrisy. Even knowing that Kawaki is significantly stronger than her, Sarada is still staring him down and staying true to her conviction of defending Boruto no matter what anyone says, as a shinobi that aspires to be the Hokage. This is one of the things that is pushing Sarada further and further towards deciding to be a rogue ninja and joining up with Boruto and her father. The moment she decides to go with Boruto, this means that she's also going to find out about her father Sasuke's unfortunate fate. The payoff for this narratively is that if Sarada finds out that her father is one of the shinobi that fell victim to the claw crimes, she might start investigating on how to free the victims from the trees they are captive in. She was the first to investigate the state of the victims within the trees and discover that they are still alive. At the moment, Boruto is exhausted and seems anxious about his inability to save his sensei from his captivity. The only ally he has left is Kashin Koji, and he's gonna need all the help he can get to weather the storm of saving the ninja world from the Shinju, and also saving his master in the process of doing that. Kishimoto has given us yet another amazing MC with Boruto Uzumaki, and this chapter was a great way to end the volume. Staring at his headband and thinking about the situation and the burden that he carries on his shoulders at the age of 15, his situation seems like it's hopeless. The biggest question is, what is Boruto going to do from this moment on? As Kashin Koji said to him, the only thing he can do now is fight.